Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time. As I always say, it's so important because we want to make sure the next 45, 50 minutes spent with us is so valuable, right, that you walk away with your nuggets. So please, please take out a pen and paper. I always say this, use your notes app on your phone. I don't care, but I want to make sure that you remember these things during the next 50 minutes. It's very, very important. You're obviously an insurance agent, right, in 2023. Hopefully, you're crushing it by now, halfway through the year. What you're going to learn about today is going to apply to each and every person on this call and all of your clients, your book of business, your prospects. And the reason why I say that is because we're talking about disability insurance today, right? And we have literally the top white collar disability carrier in the nation. Okay, Principal is joining us, and Mr. Bob Herman is presenting. And when it comes to DI, I truly believe there's no one better. Okay, with sales ideas, sales strategies. Okay, when it comes to DI, I think of him first. So he is going to present in about 10, 15 minutes. But I promise you, if you've never sold a DI policy before, or you're a veteran and you love DI, and in fact, you built your own annuity with renewals from DI, everyone is going to walk away with some great, great information to change the rest of your year. I can promise you that. And, when you look at the DI market, right, and we've been doing this since 1972. I personally started 25 years ago with Kerry, my father. DI is an underserved market, right? And I feel like some agents that aren't comfortable with disability income protection, right, they don't bring it up. Or let's say their clients are buying policies and it's just not from you, it's from, the local DI guru. So my point is, if you're focused on final expense, if you're focused on the monster estate planning cases, IUL, whole life, whatever it is, your clients are buying DI and it's not from you. And it would be a shame to refer it out and make, whatever, 10, 20% of the commission when you can have all of the commission. And what most agents don't realize is the renewals are huge. When I was talking about building your own annuity, right? We have a lot of DI agents that literally sell 80, 90% disability, okay? And then they're set for the next 10, 15, 20 years as long as these policies stay in force. The renewals are unbelievable, much higher than the life side. So this is going to be an eye opener. Principal, like I said, is here with us today. They have a new product they just rolled out. It's been about 6 weeks now. Bob is also going to, and I don't want to steal any of his thunder, but they're also going to talk about a guaranteed issue program as well. So lots and lots of good information, as I said the second time now. And then we also have a bunch of marketing material built around disability income protection so you can start to spread the word and get the message out to your friends, network, clients, all the above that you also handle DI. It's very, very important, especially for younger professionals. Okay. So we're going to share, in fact, some lead programs. We're going to share some co-branding pieces that we can create for you. It's all complimentary. And then we have a few platforms, right, that will allow you to spread the word to all of your prospects and friends. And again, it's going to show them, hey, not only am I focused on DI, but I have the best products, best carriers. And oh, by the way, click my calendar to set up an appointment to talk about a DI quote for you. So some really, really neat stuff that our agents are leveraging, and it's been taking off in 23. And I'm going to show you why in just a few more minutes here. What we're going to do at the end is we're going to have our question of the day. Whoever answers first incorrectly, I'm going to ask a question. You're going to answer first incorrectly. You win. We have the Apple AirPods or your choice, the new Fire HD tablet, and the IUL prospecting book that just came out from Stonewood. So you get to pick, but you got to answer first. Okay, let's keep moving. By the way, if you have any questions, use that Q&A pane typically on the right-hand side. You can expand it or minimize it. It's up to you, but I want to make sure that every question or comment gets answered. These are very important. These are our recent testimonials. And, when you think about our employees, in fact, any company's employees, that's what makes up the company, right? At the end of the day, it's all about the employees and our customers, which are you, the agents. So when I see this, right, from you all, from our agents, talking about our employees, there's nothing better than that as a business owner, managing partner. So I got to give credit where credit is due. Top left corner, that's my sister, Heidi. I appreciate you greatly. Thank you for the catch there on Nipper. That's why your team is my go-to. Right-hand side, you guys never cease to keep me happy with the work you do. Ashley, you are a treasure, and Kerry is lucky to have you. Thomas, many thanks to Josh for the quick quote. Excellent service. Kevin, thank you, Jake, Kevin, Thomas. At the end of the day, this is what moves the needle for us here at Levinson. So please keep sharing, okay, on our Facebook page, on our Google reviews page, and I'll send you that IUL prospecting book on us, complimentary. Let's keep moving forward. What I want to do real fast is talk about incentives and cash, which everyone wants to hear about, right? So left side is the life department. Right side is our annuity department in-house. So I want to mention this quickly. Obviously, white collar, you think principal, right, when it comes to disability income protection. So blue collar, we also have a great solution with Assurity Life. And what's so neat about this, Assurity is now on our Insure Me Now Direct platform. They're one of our latest carriers for products. Okay, so think term to $1 million, DI, CI, and guaranteed issue accidental death. Okay, 100% client driven from A to Z. That means zero agent involvement. Okay, plus all 4 products have return of premium riders. And think about this, your consumer, when they think Amazon, right? When they click to purchase a product, even if they're not healthy, they're still going to get offered a product with the ADB, okay, and with the accidental death benefit product. So there's going to be something for everyone, and everyone that buys a product gets the free scholarship program, 1-year scholarship at any of our 450 colleges across the United States. So there's again, this is a great button to push if you're out there marketing on social media, through your website, through an association, banks, financial institutions, all the above. Plus, we're giving $200 cash above and beyond the first year commission and renewals. Okay, so if you write your first application with Assurity this month, you get $200 cash above and beyond all the other perks. Right-hand side, this is a big one. We just launched this. So what we're doing is on Royal Caribbean, the Allure of the Seas, which is one of the biggest ships out right now, if you write $700,000 in FIA premium, indexed annuity premium, you get 5 days, 4 nights, 5 days. The ship leaves out of South Florida, goes to a private island, and then the Bahamas. We pay for everything, you and a guest. And then let's just say you're at a little lower tier when it comes to annuities. $350,000 of FIA premium gets you a free batch of 1,000 annuity mailers. Okay, so again, very achievable, starting at $350,000 of FIA premium or MIGAs. Okay, so if you like to write MIGAs, no problem. The number is 550. Okay, you can see right-hand side. Plus, we're going to include all of this material in today's thank you email that will show up in your inbox. Okay, before we leave tonight. If it's not there, check your spam folder. If it's not there, that means we have your incorrect email address. Please call us so you can update us as soon as you get a chance. Okay, very important, because that means you're not getting any communication from Levinson. Okay, let's keep moving forward. I have 2 more slides, and then Mr. Bob Herman will take the wheel. Okay, so real fast, the 411 monthly updates video. Okay, we used to send these out every single month, and it was basically all of our 90 plus carriers when it comes to life, supplemental products like DI, CI, annuity, and we would take everything bundled up. We would go sit in the conference room and send out this recorded video. Well, no more. We made things much easier for you now. Okay. We call it the Levinson Life and Annuity Leader. It's going to come to you every other week from Levinson to your inbox, every single update at the Levinson home office and at the carriers will be inside of the Life and Annuity Leader. If you're not getting this, let us know. It's also available on our website. Okay, you'll see the next version coming out next week. Let's move over to the right-hand side real fast. That's a quick snapshot of what it looks and feels like. And again, the point was user friendly. We want everything in black and white so you can understand all of the latest updates, changes in the annuity world, on the life side, and everything in between. And I think we accomplished that because we're getting great feedback. So check that out when you get a chance. And again, let me hear your thoughts. Okay, next slide. And this is our last slide before our feature presentation. So if you know Levinson for a while, you've been with us for a while, that's fantastic. If you're newer with us, also fantastic. But I do want to tell you it's important to us. We team up every single week with our marketing folks, and we look at all of the latest and greatest carriers and products, and we have access to just about every product and carrier in the country. Okay, but we don't want to have just another carrier and product just for the sake of having a new name on our board. Okay, we want to make sure that every carrier represents a niche in the space. And it's very important to us. Think of Burger King, McDonald's, right? On the same corner, makes no sense. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure every carrier has literally the best product when it comes to disability insurance, return of premium DI, okay, IUL, the list goes on and on and on. So we hand picked each carrier that you're looking at in front of you. If we focus on the left-hand side, impaired risk, rated, DI, Assurity, Illinois Mutual, FSL, Lloyd's, SureBridge. Okay, and then SureBridge and Assurity are both on Insure Me Now Direct. Again, that means you can send your client a link and they can go through the whole process, A to Z, get approved instantly, all while you're sleeping. Okay, so while you sleep, in a nutshell. Let's move one over when it comes to blue collar, DI, Assurity, Illinois Mutual, Mutual of Omaha, SureBridge once again, and then of course white collar, gray collar, Principal at the top, and that's for a reason. They are our go-to when it comes to DI, period. Okay, so think Principal, also Mass Mutual, Guardian, and the Standard. If there's a case that doesn't fit for whatever reason, yes, these are all direct IMO contracts. And then let's move over to the right-hand side. These are back to Insure Me Now Direct, 100% client driven. By the way, if you meet someone at your daughter's soccer game, at the Publix supermarket tonight, whatever it is, right? You're talking, CI, DI, life, whatever, and they say to you, hey, Bill, you know what? Can you run a quote for me? Oh, of course. You can pull out your iPad, your iPhone, either use our app or go right into Insure Me Now Direct, show them the quote. If they say, Bill, this is great, I want to proceed. Okay, they can literally go through the process on your phone, get approved, policies mailed within a week, or they can save it to their desktop or phone or laptop, and you're done. Okay, so this is 2023, and this is available now. So you got to leverage the resources and the technology that's available in our industry. And Levinson is a first with most of these platforms. So again, run with this. If you have any questions, just reach out to any one of our 9 marketers at any time. Okay, enough of my ranting. I want to jump into our feature presentation. We have Mr. Bob Herman joining us from Principal. Bob, are you there, buddy?
I sure am.
Okay, thank you. There we go. Okay.
Can you see that screen, Bill?
Yes, perfect.
Well, thank you again for the opportunity to be here today. To echo some of the things that you were just talking about, Bill, I think there's a lot of advisors today that shy away from this particular sale or this conversation with their client, just simply from the standpoint they don't feel comfortable. It's not a complicated sale. You can choose to make it as simple as or as complicated as you want. I think the nice thing about this, and this was evident in some of the slides that you just shared, is that the advisors on this phone, the advisors that you work with on a daily basis that are working with Levinson, have access to a tremendous resource. So regardless of the client's situation, regardless of the client's occupation, you guys are going to find them the right shoe to put on their foot. And that's all our objective is in all of these conversations, is to make sure that you're at least having this conversation with each and every client between the age of 30. Well, I say a little younger than that at times. Between 25 and 55 is really the marketplace for this stuff. One of the things I hope to do today is just an overview, is share with you, as Bill had mentioned, we have a new product that rolled out May 1st of this year. It's been approved in 43 states. We've got a few more states to go in regards to approval process. Florida is not one of those on the initial compact that was approved. Florida, California, New York, the Dakotas, Wyoming, South Carolina are a few of them that were still outstanding. We hope to have Florida, New York a little later this year. In regards to a shelf life for a disability product, we tend as an industry to have maybe, it could be a 10 or 12 year shelf life for a product because it is a pricey endeavor to get these things on the market, in the marketplace. So, through the whole filing of each state and so forth. So usually we'll see 10 to 12 years. It's been a little longer than that for Principal's products. So we're excited to have this thing. I hope to give you some overview of this product itself today, along with a little bit information about our guaranteed standard issue program. We have seen an explosion in this marketplace. And I think so much of it is driven by the employers today trying to retain some of their key people. It's a great conversation. We'll share some of those ideas and hopefully some ideas in regards to how to bring this stuff up on a daily basis too. Again, in regards to Principal's marketplace, our disability product is considered a white collar professional product. Ages, 25 to 55. We're looking for people in a white collar professional marketplace. They could be young and starting in their career. They're not necessarily making a lot today, but we know they have the potential for income growth. Typically not manual duties, but again, don't shy away from this. Your conversation each and every day should be talking to your clients about protecting their income and then going to Levinson to find the right shoe to fit for that client. We're just one of those carriers that might be able to help. In regards to the new product, some of the things that we've changed, or I'm going to go over, is we've got these enhanced definitions of disability. I'll go over all of these a little more in detail. Future purchase options, I think, that are going to be a little more easier to use than our prior ones that we had. A whole new repricing on our product line. I'm not going to share much in regards to the pricing, but I'll give you some breakdown in regards to the occupation classifications. We've got more of those represented by different marketplaces that give us more flexibility in pricing, or more competitive pricing, I should say, in certain marketplaces. As I mentioned, we'll talk about the guaranteed standard issue. Some of the things I think that are right off the bat that are easy is we've eliminated all the modal fees. Before, if you wanted to pay monthly, there was a modal fee attached to that, whether it was quarterly, semi-annual. Now, if you've got a $1,200 premium and they want to pay monthly, just divide it by 12, and that's the monthly premium that they're going to have. So that alone is going to save the client somewhere around 5% on the rate. And again, keep in mind, some of our competitors still have those modal fees built into their contracts. I think one of the other things that you'll find is we've unbundled the product for years, and they've also, I think with the new product filing, they've continued to run with that theme to allow you to be more competitive and make it, in some cases, a more basic plan offering. Sometimes everybody doesn't need, the Cadillac plan. We need just enough to cover the basics. And I think for a lot of occupations and a lot of people, that's all they're trying to accomplish. In regards to the pricing, as I mentioned, we've got occupations that we cover everywhere from, the 6A occupation class is our highest occupation class, from an attorney, corporate executive, actuaries, engineers, all the way down to an A occupation. And that 2A and A class is more of, the blue collar marketplace. And that's where sometimes, although we have a product and pricing available, you might find with Levinson's that they might plug in Illinois Mutual or Assurity in some of those places, Mutual of Omaha, good carriers that do a great job in that marketplace. But we've been able to break down the A classes by medical marketplace, not only that, the medical, but also dental. So now we've got 3 different marketplaces in regards to our pricing. And they've also included some, tiers between the A classes. That's represented by those plus signs. So in each one when we file these products, between each A class, there's a 3A plus, 4A plus, 5A plus. In the future, allows us to get a little more aggressive if we need to in certain areas. It's just going to be helpful, more flexibility going forward. The basis of every disability contract, and I think I always say this, and this is where we got to stay away from being complicated with the client. Your conversations with your customers should revolve around what are they going to do in the event that they're ever faced with an illness or injury. And I think, although you want to keep it as simple as you can with your clients, it's important, us as advisors, we understand these products and how they work. And I always say there's 4 types of claim scenarios that everybody should understand when they sell disability insurance. There's a total claim, a residual claim, a recovery claim, and then what happens if I can't do my job and go into a new field. Those are primarily the 4 disabilities that any of our clients can potentially face. And I'll talk about those in regards to the changes that we have in our product. But the first one is in regards to total disability. Clients want to know they're protected in their occupation. It's not a broad definition or a general definition. So we have 2 definitions now in our new contract. And the base definition, I always say, is if a client can't perform the substantial material duties of their job and they're not working somewhere else. That's the base definition. And we would, in most instances, that's the definition that we run with all day long. The other one is the own occupation or true own occupation definition. And that's the one that's always pounded in everybody's head. You got to have this contract. It's the most liberal definition. It's the strongest definition you get on the street, which is very true. But again, you pay for that. And depending on the occupation, you might want to pick and choose where you use that definition. And typically, I would tell you that it's used most often in the medical marketplace with attorneys. And sometimes we get into the corporate world too. Corporate executives tend to maybe lean towards that. But outside of those occupations, I can make a case all day long that your base contract is going to be plenty strong enough. And we might be able to get into that a little later. But again, in regards to our new definition or own occupation, one of the things that we now have built into that definition is specialty recognition with all of our doctors, dentists, and attorneys. For years, Principal has always adjudicated our claims that way, but it's never been built into the language of the contract. Now it's built into the language of the contract. We love to have it in there. We've been saying for years, this is how we do it. Why don't we have it in the contract? So that's a big plus for your clients. I'm going to go on to another types of claims. So total disability is the first one. If a client can't perform the substantial material duties of their job, they get the benefit. The next types of claims that they face is a residual claim. Residual claim says if a client has a restriction in their ability to work or a loss of income, that's a new change on our residual definition. Before it used to be, it was an and definition. If you couldn't, you had to have a restriction in your ability to work and a loss of income in order to establish a claim. Now it's either one of those establishes the claim and during the elimination period. And then before we used to have a 20% loss of income that was required to initiate a residual claim. It's been changed to 15%. And then there's a minimum benefit that's paid in the first 12 months of the claim of 50% of the benefit. So as an example, if I was a dentist and I had a back problem and it was preventing me from doing some of the duties of my job. Let's say as an example, I was making 120 grand a year. I know these dentists make more than that, but just bear with me. 120 grand a year. I'm trying to keep these numbers simple as possible, making 10 grand a month. The client has a benefit of $6,000 of total disability. If in fact he was faced with, and a lot of times what happens is a client may start on a residual claim and it turns into a total claim. Or in those cases, that we see that in more illness situations, or it might be an accident where, they're totally disabled and then it turns into a residual claim because they're trying to come back to work. But in either one of those scenarios, again, when you're faced with a residual claim, if you have a 15% loss of income, then you're eligible for this benefit based on the loss of income. So if my income went from $120,000 to $90,000, that's a 25% loss of income. I would be eligible for a benefit, and we would pay a minimum of 50% of that $6,000 a month for the first 12 months of the policy. We'll pay more if the loss of income is greater than that, but we're going to pay a minimum of 50%. So those are kind of new enhancements to the residual benefit. The next type of claim is a recovery claim, where a client has either been totally disabled or had a residual claim, either one of those two, but now is going back to work full time. The doc says, hey, buddy, you're good to go. You're good to go back to work full time. But that dentist that goes back to work, if he's been out for a long period of time, he's kind of build that practice back up. Those clients have probably gone somewhere else. So it's going to take him a while to get his income back up to that $120,000 a year. We continue to pay a loss of income if they have a 15% loss of income. One of the other things that I would say that we try to impress upon any client, the value of an individual policy, is the non-canned guaranteed renewable feature of disability insurance. That's the basis of every individual contract because it offers so many guarantees. And it simply means once that client buys the policy, the carrier can never change the product regardless of changes in the client's health, their income, or their job. If I bought a policy as a corporate executive and I got a 6A rate, which is the best rate on the street, best contract, and I decided 5 years later to change that job, I'm going to go do something different. I'm going to go be a commercial fisherman now. We can't change the rates of that policy or that contract. Client keeps the same policy. We can't even change the benefit amount. If the guy's income went from 300 grand to 30 grand, we can't change the benefit that he had. If he had 10 grand a month, as long as he keeps paying the premium, he still has 10 grand a month. If he becomes disabled, we say, can you perform the substantial material duties of a commercial fisherman? It's what you're doing at the time of claim. And if you can't perform that job, we pay the benefit amount that's in force. Now, most of those contracts have a non-canned guaranteed renewal feature that went to 65. And at 65, the contract becomes conditionally renewable, meaning you can keep the policy on the condition that you're still working full time, but the rate started to increase. What we've changed is the non-canned feature now can mirror the benefit period, because we do have benefit periods that go beyond 65. They go to 67 or 70. So you can keep that guaranteed rate all the way out to the end of the benefit period, 67 or 70. That's another thing that's changed on this contract, which again is an enhancement for our customers. Some of the discounts that are available, I'll focus on primarily the two biggest ones. Our multi-life discount is if we have 3 or more people at a common employer, we can use a 20% discount. So you have a year to establish that discount. If you write a case, you get referred to a second person, and then finally you get a third one, 6 months later, just reference the other two, and we'll go back in retro and give those folks the discount going forward. Now, in regards to that discount, depending the occupation, we have unisex rates and we have sex distinct rates. If you're in the medical marketplace, you're going to see sex distinct. Most of the carriers have moved to a sex distinct rate, so it's a 20% rate discount from a male or female rate. If you're outside of that marketplace, you're going to see a unisex rate. So it's a hybrid rate, somewhere between a male and female rate, and it drops 20%. Once they have the discount, they always have the discount. Another thing to keep in mind, this is resident season, by the way. We have a lot of residents that are graduating. They're leaving, they're going to get their first job out in the marketplace. At Principal, we can give any graduating resident a 20% discount off of a male or female rate. It's good to know, it's good to market, good to share those ideas. I know Bill does a great job of sharing these kinds of concepts with his advisors. And then the other thing is in regards to our mental and nervous, for years, there was in our marketplace, there's always been a 2-year limit for mental and nervous claims on most policies. In our new policy, we're going to have the client's going to have the option. They can have full coverage for mental and nervous claims, meaning that a mental and nervous claim is treated as any other illness and the benefit would be paid to the end of the benefit period. Or you can say, I'd like to have a 2-year limit for that to reduce the cost of the plan, and it brings the rate down 10% in most states other than Texas. And then you'll see it's a different discount if it's a 2 or a 5-year benefit period. The riders that have changed. One of the riders that's been available is the catastrophic disability benefit. It's an additional benefit that's put on the policy in the event that a client can't perform 2 activities of daily living, they have a cognitive impairment, or they have what we refer to as a presumptive claim. And a presumptive claim is an irrecoverable loss of 2 limbs, sight, hearing, or speech. And if any of those 3 are triggered, this additional benefit is paid on top of the base benefit. So you can protect up to 100% of your income in some cases with the catastrophic benefit added to the policy. And all that we've done is we've increased that maximum. It used to be $8,000 a month. It's now $12,500. And again, it provides for a lot of people, the fact that I can maybe replace 100% of my income if it's something serious. It's of interest, and it's not that expensive to add that rider to the policy. One of the other things that's changed is, I just mentioned the presumptive disability. Principal's old contract used to have this feature on there that said if you had the irrecoverable loss of 2 limbs, sight, hearing, or speech, we paid the benefit immediately. That no elimination period is required, and we'll pay that benefit even if the client can go back to work. But before, we used to pay it for the lifetime of the client if they had a 2 age 65 benefit period or longer. Now it's just to the end of the benefit period, which just aligns with most of our competition. It allows us to be more competitive with our rates, was the biggest reason they brought that down. As I mentioned also earlier, some of these features are now a la carte. Like we had these other supplemental benefits that were attached to our old 750 product series, and they were built into the policy. The death benefit was one of them, the capital sum, supplemental health. Each one of these now can be either added to the policy or removed. You could take 1, take 2, take all 3. It just gives you some flexibility. Capital sum just says if a client has, I mentioned earlier the presumptive claim. If a client has the loss of use of 1 eye or the loss of use of 1 limb, we would pay 12 months of the benefit in a lump sum in addition to the monthly benefit. We had a client, I remember a number of years ago, the guy was an accountant and he had some bone marrow cancer, and they ended up amputating his leg. And he was able to get 12 months of his benefit in a lump sum in addition to his monthly benefit. That's an example of where that was utilized. And then the other one is supplemental health benefit. It just says that if a client has coronary bypass surgery, stroke, or cancer, we would pay 6 months of the benefit in a lump sum. And I tell you, the biggest one that we see is with the young females. We see a lot of breast cancer claims, and they get a check for 6 months of the benefit in a lump sum. Let me tell you, a lot of those folks are surprised. They didn't realize that, but it's a pretty interesting benefit that certainly has helped a lot of clients. One of the things I always talk about is first of all, we want to make sure that we protect our clients' income, but we also want to protect their insurability. And there's 2 future purchase options that are on this policy that come at no cost to the client. And the first one is this annual increase rider, or the AIR rider. And all that it is, if a client buys a policy, as you'll see in this example, for $4,000 a month, I'm making $75,000 a year, I buy $4,000 a month, and I just kind of set it and forget it, right? Each year, I'm going to get an annual increase on that benefit that just increases my benefit for inflation. This is prior to a claim. And by the way, as an advisor, you're going to get a first-year commission on all these increases that take place. It runs for 20 years or up into the age of 50, whichever comes first. And a client can deny a year, like, oh, I don't want this increase this year. That's fine, but they just can't deny 2 in a row. So as an example, if you're running for 20 years, you can basically skip every other year and have 10 increases on this benefit. I always say, when do people want to buy this stuff? And most likely it's when they need it. So when you have a policy and you have the ability to increase it without medical underwriting, it's a powerful tool. And so that guy that bought $4,000 a month in 20 years, now that benefit's up to $7,200 a month, almost doubling that benefit amount with no underwriting. And those are just other different benefit levels that you'll see. That Select Pro that they're referencing there is our, what do you want to say? We have special limits for those in the medical marketplace, with attorneys, with certain veterinarians, certain occupations that will give them a certain dollar amount without any financial documentation. And in this case, a doc coming out of the residency can get $7,500 with no financial documentation. And it just shows what happens to that benefit over the course of time, increasing with these automatic increases. The other rider that comes with the policy, along with the Air Rider, is the My Benefit Rider. And this one just allows the client to increase their policy with bigger chunks, as opposed to those small increases. They can buy bigger chunks. And in the first 3 years of the policy, the client can increase it anytime they want, as many times as they want, as long as they've got to have financial proof that they're eligible for an increase. And again, in the medical marketplace, or you've got somebody, a young professional that's starting their career, or a business owner, a small business owner, as that thing starts to grow, they're going to want to increase this benefit with bigger chunks. And this rider will allow them to do that. When they apply for this stuff, they have to take at least 50% of the benefit. So as an example, if somebody comes back and they're eligible, they bought a policy originally for $5,000 a month, and they say, gee whiz, I've got this increase in my income. I'd like to, what am I eligible for now? Well, you're eligible for another $5,000. Now the client can either take the full $5,000, they can take some of it, all of it, none of it. But if they take none of it, they would lose this rider. They got to take at least half of it to maintain the rider going forward. This is, again, once they apply. So if they don't apply, we don't have to worry about it. After year 4, then it's based on a life trigger event. So, and they've got this 12-month window: marriage, birth of a child, divorce, death of a spouse. Those are some of the triggers, along with if a client has a 20% increase in income, or that they may have lost their group coverage. We have many clients that supplement their group coverage that they have through their employer with an individual plan. In the event that they ever left, they can increase their individual disability policy to whatever they qualify for financially, and that's just a triggering event. That's kind of an overview of some of the how do you say, features of the new contract. And before I get into this other area that we've had just an enormous amount of opportunity lately, but it'll give you some good ideas. I just want to kind of reiterate too, in regards to this sale. This is something that you have to incorporate with every conversation that you have with your client. And if you develop the behavior, you're going to find more opportunity. And I always say the best way to do that is, when I started in the insurance business, we called it red letter language, and you built certain things into your presentation right from the beginning. You could say it immediately. You memorized it. You could do it in your sleep. And one of the things I always learned was that if you told your client, hey, there's 3 areas that we help our clients in the event they live too long, they die too soon, or get sick or hurt somewhere along the way. And those are the 3 areas that I certainly want to make sure that we address with your financial situation. If you get in the habit of having that conversation with every one of your clients from the very beginning, you're going to find opportunity, because what ends up happening is you're going to say, it's like the client isn't surprised then when you bring this topic up, because you addressed it from the beginning. In the event that you're faced with an illness or injury, we've got to have a plan. And then when you get to that topic, let them know that they have choices. And, Bill talks about getting an illustration or getting a quote. That's the first part of it. But you could set the stage in regards to expectations by simply telling your client, listen, my clients protect their income in 1 of 3 ways. I got one group of clients that says, Bob, I need to get as much benefit as I can. I'm the sole breadwinner in the house. If something ever happened to me, we're in trouble. I need to get as much coverage as I can. Okay, you're probably looking at maximum benefit for that client. I have a second group of clients that basically tell me, Bob, I need enough to cover a specific dollar amount. If I had enough to cover my mortgage, utilities, and groceries, man, it'd make my life a lot easier. Okay, what's that number? Let's start there. And then I have a third group of clients that say, you know, I can only afford so much a month. I can afford $100 a month or whatever it is. Can you give me some options in that regard? And we can create a plan design with that budgetary constraint. We certainly can, and then give these guys the future purchase option that goes with it. So set those expectations up front, let them know they have choices, and then when you run those illustrations, you can make it more, I'm going to say, customizable to their situation. I think what fits their needs. One last thing, and this is this opportunity that we talk about all the time, is our group benefits. You know, for those on the phone, you may have many clients that have, if you get in the topic of disability insurance, you know, I always say you ask 3 questions. You know, number 1, why'd you go to work today? Number 2, what would happen if you became sick or hurt and couldn't work for the next 6 months? What happens? How do you meet your obligations? What's your plan? And then the third question is, what benefits that you have that could help with you with those obligations? Do you have something through your employer? And a lot of times people will say, yeah, I've got this great benefit at work. Great. Tell me a little bit about it. So there's typically 6 pieces of information that we want to know about that group plan. How much do they get? When does it start? How long does it last? Who pays for it? What's the cap on that disability plan? So they all have a cap, 60% to what? And then how do you define earnings? Do they cover your salary? Is it the bonuses covered? Is K-1 distributions covered? Tell me what's covered. And typically what we find, and this is an example I could throw up in front of any company. It's so relevant. Where you have these outliers, you have these highly compensated people in a group where the group plan says we'll cover 60% of your income up to 10 grand a month. And for most people, it doesn't even register with them. They go, cool, got a benefit. That's awesome. Don't have to pay for it. Okay, but you've got, in this case, maybe 8 or 10 people that are exceeding the cap. Those outliers, those are your highly compensated people. More than likely, they're the key people in an organization. And why it's relevant today is employers today are trying to retain these people. The opportunities in its competition is fierce. These people are moving, and employers want to keep them, and they're doing everything they can. And that's why this is a topic. I've been on numerous calls, joint calls with our advisors, reviewing these opportunities. So all that we do is we say, hey, and for any of you folks that are on the line, if you have an employer, all that we need, and you can send this through Bill's team, all that we need is a copy of the census of the group, along with a summary of the plan that they have, the LTD plan. We can run a proposal. It doesn't take us long. Bill will fire it off to us. We do this all the time for those guys. And it basically shows, you know, you've got 8 people that are underinsured. What do you want to do about it? Here's an idea that you may want to consider. And if we've got 100% participation of a defined group and it's employer paid, we're going to give them some guarantee issue benefits. So there's no medical underwriting. Everybody gets access to these benefits. And here's an example, you know, as we see in numbers, as I mentioned in that previous slide, those that are over $200,000, we're just picking out 3 of them here. But, you know, if you look at their group benefit, they're only replacing, you know, 53% of my income, or that higher earner, 34% of their income. Let me tell you, these people are surprised when they see this stuff. What can we do about it? Well, you can layer individual coverage on top of that group plan that pays in addition to the group benefit to make sure that everybody gets their 60%. And we hope to utilize that with some guarantee issue. Again, we need at least 5 lives. We're looking for those 3 occupation classes or better, which is really our white collar space. And then again, the discounts that come into play are tremendous. Most cases on these things, we're showing a 25% discount off of the unisex rate. And they always maintain the discount. So even if they leave, they can take that policy with them, portable, pay the premiums, and it's theirs. So that's about all I have for you today. And again, I appreciate the opportunity from Bill's team, mostly to allow us to speak with you folks today. But understand there's tremendous opportunity. Just make it a point to just keep it simple. Force yourself into the habit of at least bringing this subject up. All of your clients between the age of 25 and 55. Bill's team will find you the right product for that client. Don't worry about that. They'll guide you along the way. And then in regards to some of these guarantee issue opportunities, look for some of those employers that have some highly compensated folks or that have an employer paid LTD plan in place. You're going to find opportunity. Trust me. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, that was great, Bob. Thank you so much. And yes, just like he mentioned, you have a case, you have a guy, you have a girl, just call our marketing team. We'll put together the illustration, sales material, everything that you need from A to Z. Just let us know and we'll get it out same day. Okay, now we have this great product, great carrier, right? And we need to get the word out. And you need some sales ideas. You need some ways to spread the word, okay? And that's what we want to share now. If we can jump right in, Andrew, that would be great. So first of all, to get started, very simple. Just go to our website. We'll also include all of this in the thank you email, but obviously our new site is up, revamped, refreshed. Look at the yellow arrow right in front of you, left side. It says contracting, and then right under that is where you will click to request, and then right-hand side it'll say disability and then principal. Now, if you already have a contract through another IMO, but you want to take advantage of our tools and resources, move it over to Levinson. We give you free cash or leads with contracting and your first paid app. Okay, and typically we can beat your existing commission grid. So any questions, let us know, but definitely take advantage of that. The next slide here is something that we put together for you just to get some ideas, right? And again, more nuggets, and we'll also include this in the thank you email. But I think this is one of those products that, you know, the general public, they and you'll see why, and I have some facts to prove this, but they think that disability is not that important, DI coverage. They think that they're covered through their company, whoever they work for, and it just doesn't come up a lot unless you bring it up and you plant the seed and you ask the question, what would you do if you were disabled and you couldn't bring home that paycheck every month? What would the damage be for your spouse, for your children, right? Would you get kicked out of your home because you couldn't pay your mortgage or your rent? So all of a sudden, you know, it's an eye opener and people start to say, wait a minute, I never thought about this. You know what? Can you run me a quote? So we know that's a fact, okay? And I also know for a fact we have 23,000 agents now, and about 15% of them focus on disability income insurance and sales. And they go out there and crush it, okay? But it also tells me the other 85%, they're not comfortable. Just like Bob said, they're not bringing this up. So these are some great ideas. If you want to check this out, the bullets in front of you. So the top one, we'll start number one. Obviously, Insure Me Now Direct, no brainer. Okay, think of, in fact, we have the Pest Control Association, one of our agents handles, and we set up the Insure Me Now Direct site just for them with their logo. And then the added benefit, if you're a member of the association, is the free scholarship. So the disability coverage, in fact, we have 3 different products that are on the platform, and that is the easiest way to sell DI, right from a smartphone, laptop, iPad, all the above. Okay, and the scholarship, that's a no-brainer, and it's free for the consumer, free for you, the agent. There's no commission reduction, no-brainer. Okay, number 2, homeowners. Okay, now, someone just closed on a house, okay? Young couple, whatever, children, doesn't make a difference. Ask the question, okay? What happens if you don't pay your mortgage on time, okay? If you can't bring home the paycheck, like I mentioned, it's an eye-opener, okay? Cross-selling. Now, think about this. Paycheck protection, okay, another eye opener. But when it comes to cross selling, if you're not too comfortable with DI or you're thinking, how am I going to get the word out? So you've been selling final expense or term insurance or whole life and IUL, okay, and you have this big book of business or prospects, okay, and these big buckets, I call them buckets. Now, all of a sudden, you already have the relationship. Okay. They know your logo or the great picture of you in every email that goes out or mail or whatever it is. What I would do, and it's so easy, is use one of our co-branded DI pieces and blast it out to everyone saying, hey, it's me, Bill Levinson, the DI guru, and ask the questions. What's in your mug? Which I'm going to show you what that means in a second. Okay, but there's so many easy, simple ways. If you have your YouTube channel, your Facebook page, you got to bring this up because it makes people scratch their head and say, tell me more. I want a quote. Okay, here's another good one. So I always say you have these buckets of prospects in your database and client base, and it's so important you send out these birthday emails. Okay, anniversary emails. Okay, think about this. A baby was just born. Obviously, you want to send a handwritten card, maybe a little gift if it's a good client. This is the perfect opportunity to bring up DI coverage because now all of a sudden it's not just you anymore or you and your spouse. Now there's an infant that you have to think about, God forbid, if something happens to you. Okay, let's say they were renting for 7 years and now they just got a great deal on their first home. Hello, perfect opportunity. You already own the relationship. Bring this stuff up. Okay. Number 6, income protection in the conversation. Okay, you got to keep bringing this up. And then all of a sudden, what's going to happen is Shelly is going to see Shirley, in the grocery store at the soccer game. And, oh, they're talking about, critical illness. My cousin, God forbid, she just had a stroke and now she can't pay her bills. And you want to make sure with every solicitation, every email, text message, you have your signature, right? And you always talk about mortgage protection, final expense, disability, critical illness coverage. Okay. Plant the seed constantly. Number 7, this is a great one. So think about this. Now, Principal is literally the go to, okay, for doctors, okay, PAs, anyone in the medical field. They are excellent, excellent. So we have a few agencies, and what they do is they have their own Facebook page, their own website, right? And they are focused on the medical field. They buy lists that are very inexpensive of anyone in the medical field, RNs, nurses, okay, PAs, doctors, all the above. And what they do is all of their marketing material in their Facebook page and their website looks like their company was built just for the medical field. Okay. And it makes the nurse or the doctor say, oh my gosh, I finally found, Bill Levinson, Medical Benefits USA, he's geared towards my type of industry and has the best products for people like us. And they do so well with DI. So you got to think about this, get creative and scrappy. And you can do this with all the above, right? Doesn't really matter. And we give you some examples in number 7. Think about networking with CPAs, right? This comes up all the time. Annual review, taxes. Oh, Bobby, did you ever think about, God forbid, you got sick, you couldn't work, there was an injury, couldn't bring home the monthly paycheck? What would happen? Okay. Team up with estate planning attorneys. These people have the in with prospects. So again, work together with them. There's so many ideas. The mug plan, very simple. Okay. And when you talk about getting scrappy, what can I do to plant the seed, to raise an eyebrow, right? To get the quote request in. I love this concept. Okay. What's in your mug? Okay. People are going to say, what the hell is Bill talking about? Okay, well, this explains it. Very simple. You can do this in a text form, email blast form. Mug, what is your mortgage? Okay, put your payment in. Utilities, payment in. Groceries, payment in. Now, what happens if you were injured, you couldn't work anymore? Are these things going to be covered? What are you going to do? Well, I can get you a quote for $3,000, $4,000 of a monthly benefit that will cover these things for $82 a month. Really? I'm in. Sign me up. Done. It raises an eyebrow. It's so simple. Okay, but you got to get the word out. Look at this statistic from Illinois Mutual real fast. They returned over $179 million to policy owners with the ROP rider. People don't even know that you can have a disability policy with full return of premium. And we have this on Insure Me Now Direct. So it's such an easy sale. But again, you got to bring it up. And how do you bring it up? Through platforms like Ringy, like Agency Automator. Okay, Ringy, all that's going to do, think about your bucket of prospects. I keep talking about your bucket. Okay, hopefully there's hundreds or thousands of people in there. They already know you, they love you, you own the relationship. Well, what you're going to do is send out a mass campaign built around DI, disability income protection, right? And then you're going to send out emails, text messages, even automated phone calls with this new campaign. Maybe talk about the mug. Schedule an appointment here in my shared calendar. Ringy will do all of the follow-ups for you. And 2-week free trial, $49 a month the first 6 months. I'm telling you right now, if you're, I don't care, insurance agent, real estate, if you're in sales in 2023 and you don't have a platform that reaches out to all of your friends, network, customers, all the above for you on autopilot, you're riding a horse in reverse around New York City, okay, in 2023, and that shouldn't happen. You need this to be successful. And I'm not saying Ringy. I don't care what you use. That's up to you, but you need a system that touches all of your prospects and clients. And my suggestion is once a week, period. Right-hand side. This agency automator system is like think of Constant Contact, CRM tool. There's a built-in website, quoting engine. There's a database with millions of prospects. You can even search criteria. You can say, just married new homeowners with newborns in 33067 zip code, and it will tell you names, numbers, emails, address for everyone that falls into that criteria. And we have the annuity version out now as well. Okay, so again, no brainer. I want to show you now what disability posts are working great on social media, top performing posts. Very simple. And again, don't reinvent the wheel. Add a few spokes, left-hand side. Check this one out. 614 likes. This created 103 comments and questions. If that was your post, that's 103 new clients that you could convert for free. Okay, look how simple. Look at this graphic. You think about car insurance, you think about home insurance, you think about your smartphone insurance. Do you think about income insurance? Raise the eyebrow. Look at the question on the bottom. So simple, but we never did it before. Right-hand side. This is the statistic I was speaking about earlier. This is a fact here. 53% say they need DI insurance. 14% own a policy. Do you think this is a good opportunity, folks? Next slide. Real fast, very simple. Again, left-hand side talks about the myth. Right-hand side is the fact. People think, misconception, I can rely on workman's comp. If I get sick or injured, let's check out the fact, right-hand side. A fraction of disability accidents or illnesses happen at the workplace, so the vast majority would never see a payout, period. Right-hand side, who should consider disability insurance? Just about everyone. That created almost 200 likes, like 40 to 50 comments and questions. And again, use this stuff, okay? Get it out now. Even if you get one like or one question, that's one new customer or potentially a new customer, okay? So you got to think like this. The podcast, awesome training guide for you all. Plus, I did an awesome disability podcast with the I Love DI host, which is the top podcast for disability income. We're going to include that in the thank you email. It talks about strategies all around DI. And then bottom right-hand side, that is coming up next Friday. I'm bringing in the Hill Financial Group. I'm going to do an agent interview for an hour to see what's working and what's not, so I can share it with you all for free, and you'll see that in your email inbox the following week. Okay, we're almost done here. I know we're running late, and I'm literally done in 60 seconds. This is huge. If you are licensed, which all of you are, okay, you need to be on our nationwide free CE event. Everybody on gets free CE credits, which we all need, okay? Make sure you are on this webinar exclusive to Levinson, July 27, 3 p.m. Eastern. Plus, it talks all about living benefits, which is what we're talking about today as well. So write that one down. Next slide is our future trainings, and then we'll put a bow on this. So what I want to talk about quickly is important. If you're in South Florida, we have a live training tomorrow morning in South Florida. Starts at 9 a.m. With Baltimore Life Insurance Company. We have a breakfast. It's free for all of you. Let me know. Send me an email if you can make it tomorrow morning. Again, South Florida. We have probably a few open chairs left. Just keep me posted on that if you're interested. And then, of course, in blue is all the upcoming training webinars. In fact, we'll include this in the thank you email, but I want to keep moving along so I'm not getting everyone out too late. Okay, this is our final slide here, my Positive Tuesday quote. So real fast, left-hand side, following the crowd will take you no further than the crowd. Okay, what does that tell you? Get out, get scrappy. Okay, try some of these things. You've never done it before. Give it a shot. Like I said, one new like or follow or comment is a new client, which could be $2-3 grand of commissions plus a referral, plus who knows what it could lead to, but you got to put yourself out there. We know how that works. My question of the day, real fast, make sure your little fingers are on the keyboard and you're ready to answer because I'm going to say it right now. You got to answer first and correctly. Question is, I spoke about our annuity incentive. Okay, what is the name of the cruise line and the ship name for the new annuity sales contest? Tell me the cruise line and the name of the ship, and you win Apple AirPods or the new Fire HD tablet and the IUL prospecting book. Tell me the name of the cruise line and the name of the ship for our annuity incentive. $700,000 of FIA premium and 2 people, okay, you and a guest, cruise to Private Island and the Bahamas, 4 nights, 5 days on us. Tell me the name of the cruise line and you win. Andrew, do we have a winner today?
We do. It is Matt C. Matt C.
Matt C. It's Royal Caribbean, Allure of the Seas. Matt C., congrats. Let's have a great Thursday, great rest of the week, great selling. Put your right foot forward and try this stuff out, okay? I promise you it works because I see the proof in the pudding with our other agencies. So come on, okay? It's there for the taking. Help these families, help yourself. Good selling. Thank you again.